Most people don't realize their survival stash could actually kill them, from toxic water to spoiled grains. In a real blackout, flood, or food shortage, the supplies you counted on will fail when you need them most. Today, I'll reveal the 7 survival items you must avoid at all costs, and the 2 proven essentials that will keep your family alive through the next crisis. Stay with me. Number 2 is the silent trap that wipes out most survival plans, and you'll regret skipping it. Number 7. Energy drinks and high caffeine beverages. The warehouse shelves are stacked floor to ceiling. Pallets of energy drinks stretch toward fluorescent lights. Sarah Chen, a supply chain manager from Phoenix, watches workers load case after case into her cart. 6 months of Red Bull, she tells herself. Better safe than sorry. Those energy drinks contain 400 milligrams of caffeine per can. In a crisis, when stress peaks and sleep disappears, her family will crash harder than a falling tree. Energy drinks promise alertness, but deliver dependency. When your stockpile runs dry, and it will, withdrawal hits like a sledgehammer. Headaches, fatigue, and irritability arrive just when you need clear thinking most. The real killer isn't withdrawal, it's dehydration. Energy drinks have very little nutritional value and actually pull water from your system when your body desperately needs every drop. In emergency conditions, when clean water becomes precious, these drinks force your kidneys to work overtime processing synthetic compounds instead of keeping you hydrated. Dr. Martinez, an emergency physician in Houston, treated 3 families during the February ice storm. They came in shaking, dehydrated, hearts racing. All had been drinking energy drinks to stay warm and alert. The caffeine made everything worse. Stress hormones plus synthetic stimulants equals cardiac strain. Your heart pounds, your blood pressure spikes, and your judgment clouds. The very alertness you sought becomes paranoia. The energy becomes exhaustion. When your stockpile runs empty, your body rebels. Just when you need maximum performance, you get minimum function. Energy drinks can also make some people jittery, which you don't need in an emergency. Temperature extremes worsen the effects. Cold weather increases caffeine absorption rates by 30%. Hot conditions amplify dehydration risks. Power outages eliminate refrigeration, causing stored drinks to spoil or become unpalatable. You've traded water storage space for liquid liabilities. Emergency responders report families arriving at shelters with symptoms mimicking heart attacks, rapid pulse, chest pain, confusion. The cause? Caffeine toxicity from consuming multiple energy drinks daily while rationing food and water. And while stimulants can wreck your body, the next mistake hides in plain sight and shatters the very tools you're counting on. Number 6. Cheap survival gear and bargain equipment. The discount bin overflows with survival promises. Flashlights for $2, multi-tools for $5, emergency radios for $10. David Park, an office manager from Seattle, fills his basket with bargain gear. Why pay $50 when I could get the same thing for $10? The first power outage exposes the lie. Cheap junk like credit card knives, matchlight fire starters, and keychain survival kits fail when stress tests arrive. The flashlight dims after 30 minutes. The radio picks up static instead of emergency broadcast. The multi-tool blade snaps when you need it most. Manufacturers of bargain survival gear optimize for initial sale, not long-term performance. They use low-grade materials, minimal quality control, and no real-world testing. The result looks functional but performs catastrophically when life depends on it. Sarah Williams, a nurse from Oklahoma, learned this lesson during a tornado outbreak. My cheap flashlight died just as I was trying to check on my injured neighbor. The radio wouldn't hold a signal to get weather updates. The emergency blanket tore like tissue paper. Everything failed exactly when I needed it. Quality failures create cascading disasters. When your primary flashlight dies, you're left searching for backup options in the dark. When your radio can't receive emergency broadcasts, you make decisions based on incomplete information. When your tools break under pressure, simple tasks become impossible challenges. Emergency response data shows a direct correlation between gear failure and rescue calls. Families with quality equipment handle crises independently. Families with cheap alternatives require outside assistance at exactly the moment when help may be unavailable. Professional survivalists budget 20% of their kit value for redundant backup tools because they understand failure rates. Cheap gear fails at a rate of 60% within the first year of storage. Quality alternatives last decades under identical conditions. If weak gear leaves you stranded, the next trap is even worse. It disguises itself as comfort food, but robs you of the strength you need most. We've studied real disaster reports to build this list. Hit subscribe to get the rest of our findings. Number 5. Sugar-laden snacks and candy. The checkout counter overflows with colorful packages. Candy bars, chips, cookies, and sodas create a mountain of processed comfort. Jake Thompson, a father of 3 from Denver, loads his cart with family favorites. If we're stuck at home for weeks, at least the kids will have something they like. The sugar hits fast and hard. Blood glucose spikes to dangerous levels, creating artificial energy that feels like strength. For 30 minutes, your family feels unstoppable. Then the crash arrives with devastating force. Sugar-laden snacks give you a sugar rush followed by a crash, leaving you weaker than before you ate. Your pancreas floods your system with insulin to process the sugar overload. When the glucose disappears, insulin keeps working, driving your blood sugar below normal levels. The result? Fatigue, confusion, irritability, and desperate cravings for more sugar. You're trapped in a cycle that destroys both energy and judgment. Dr. Patricia Williams, a nutritionist who studied disaster response patterns, tracked families during Hurricane Ida. The ones who relied heavily on processed snacks showed significantly higher stress levels, more family conflicts, and worse decision-making abilities. Their blood sugar roller coaster became an emotional roller coaster. Sugar's real crime isn't the crash, it's the missed nutrition. Every calorie wasted on empty carbohydrates is a calorie stolen from essential nutrients your body needs for stress response. Your immune system weakens, your cognitive function declines, your physical endurance plummets. Candy and candy bars, potato chips, and soda provide almost no protein, healthy fats, vitamins, or minerals your body desperately needs during crisis situations. You're eating calories while starving for nutrition. Storage conditions accelerate deterioration. Humidity makes crackers soggy. Heat melts gummy products into sticky messes. Cold temperatures make chocolate brittle and affect texture. You've invested in products designed for controlled environments, but stored them in variable conditions. Empty calories aren't the only danger in your pantry. Another everyday staple promises health, but delivers the opposite. Number 4. Breakfast cereals and processed grain products. The cereal aisle stretches like a colorful tunnel. Boxes tower from floor to ceiling, each promising nutrition and convenience. Michelle Adams, a busy mother from Atlanta, fills her cart with family favorites. At least 20 boxes, she calculates. No cooking required, the kids love them, and they'll last forever. The nutrition label tells a different story. Breakfast cereals have short shelf lives and usually have very little nutritional content. Most boxes contain more sugar per serving than cookies, more sodium than potato chips, and less protein than a handful of nuts. You're paying premium prices for flavored cardboard. The real danger lurks in the storage requirements. Cereals attract insects and rodents like magnets. Store foods packaged in cardboard boxes, thin plastic, or paper in a metal, glass, or rigid plastic container to avoid insect and rodent damage. Without proper repackaging, your stockpile becomes a breeding ground for pests that contaminate everything else. Dr. Robert Chen, an entomologist who studies food storage, explains, grain products in cardboard packaging are essentially insect hotels. The eggs are often already present when you buy them. In storage conditions, dark, undisturbed spaces, they hatch and multiply rapidly. Within months, you have more bugs than food. Temperature fluctuations during power outages create condensation inside packages. Humidity spikes during storms create mold growth. Rodents chew through thin packaging to reach the grain inside, leaving contaminated remnants. Rachel Martinez, a teacher from Miami, discovered this reality after Hurricane Andrew. I opened our cereal boxes after 2 weeks without power. They were moving, literally crawling with bugs. We had to throw away our entire stockpile because everything was contaminated. Industrial processing removes most vitamins and minerals from grain products, then adds synthetic versions that don't absorb as effectively. The fortification process creates nutritional deficiencies over time, especially during stress when your body needs maximum nutrient density. When spoiled grains turn against you, the threat escalates to something even more critical, your most essential resource becoming your greatest liability. Number 3. Improperly stored water and contaminated sources. The plastic jugs line the garage wall like soldiers. Gallon after gallon of water sits ready for emergency use. Kevin Rodriguez, a construction foreman from Phoenix, feels confident about his family's hydration plan. 100 gallons, he counts proudly. We could last for months. 6 months later, his confidence turns to horror. The water smells wrong, it tastes worse. Green algae clouds the bottom of containers. What he thought was life insurance has become a potential death sentence. Observe the expiration date for store-bought water, replace other stored water every 6 months. Plastic containers aren't impermeable barriers. Chemicals leach in both directions. Bacteria find microscopic entry points, heat accelerates contamination, light triggers algae growth, time transforms pure water into toxic soup, Dr. Amanda Foster, a water safety specialist, documented contamination rates in stored water supplies. After 6 months in typical garage conditions, 40% of improperly stored water samples showed dangerous bacterial levels. After 12 months, that number jumped to 80%. The real killer isn't what grows in your water, it's what you don't know is growing. Clear water can harbor deadly pathogens. Odorless water can contain lethal chemicals. Water that looks perfect can cause organ failure within hours. The Rodriguez family discovered this during a heat wave that knocked out city water. My youngest daughter got violently ill after drinking our stored water. Emergency room doctors said it was bacterial contamination. We could have killed our own child trying to keep her hydrated. Temperature swings in uncontrolled storage areas create perfect breeding environments for harmful organisms. Plastic degradation releases chemicals into the water supply. UV exposure from sunlight breaks down container integrity. Every day of storage increases contamination risk. Biofilm formation inside containers creates protective shells around harmful bacteria, making standard purification methods ineffective. The longer water sits, the more resistant pathogens become to treatment. But food can betray you too, especially when you discover you're surrounded by supplies you can't even access. Number 2. Canned foods without manual. Can openers. The metal gleams under the kitchen light. Row after row of canned goods line Maria Rodriguez's pantry shelves in Sacramento. Beans, vegetables, soup, tuna. Enough food to feed her family for months. She runs her finger along the smooth tops, feeling secure about her family's future. The first power outage reveals her fatal mistake. Electric can opener, dead. The manual one, it broke 6 months ago. She never replaced it. Now she stares at 40 pounds of food she cannot access. The irony cuts deeper than any blade. Surrounded by nutrition but facing starvation. Canned foods require a manual can opener and eating utensils that most families forget to stockpile. Without proper tools, those cans become beautiful, expensive paperweights. You can't smash them open safely. You can't burn them open effectively. You can't wish them open desperately. Tom Bishop, a retired Marine from Colorado, learned this lesson during a week-long blackout. I had 200 cans of food and no way to open them. Tried using a knife, nearly cut my hand off. Tried rocks, just dented the cans. My neighbor finally lent me his manual opener on day 4. This reveals the deeper problem. Dependency without redundancy. Canned food seems like the perfect survival staple because it lasts forever and requires no refrigeration. But survival isn't just about having supplies. It's about accessing them when your normal tools fail. When you see your family looking at abundant food they cannot reach, the helplessness destroys morale. Trust breaks down, desperation builds up, simple problems become family-ending crises. You feel prepared because your shelves overflow with food. You sleep soundly knowing your family won't starve. But you've built your entire nutrition strategy on the assumption that basic tools will always work. When that assumption fails, preparation becomes prison. And yet, even with food and water accounted for, the greatest weakness of all still lurks in nearly every household. Silent, seductive, and certain to fail. Number 1. Over-reliance on electronic devices and gadgets. The charging station hums with activity. Phones, tablets, laptops, radios, flashlights, and power banks create an electronic fortress. Mark Chen, a tech specialist from Portland, surveys his digital armor with satisfaction. 3 backups for every device. Solar chargers, hand-crank generators. We're bulletproof. The EMP event lasts 3 seconds. Every circuit dies instantly. Every screen goes dark permanently. Every plan evaporates completely. Mark stares at $50,000 worth of dead electronics, suddenly realizing his family's survival depended entirely on technology that no longer exists. Cell phone signals vary even in good times. It's a terrible solution for a widespread disaster. Electronic failure isn't just possible during emergencies, it's inevitable. Power grids collapse, communication towers fall, infrastructure dissolves, your digital lifeline becomes digital deadweight. Dependency creates deeper vulnerabilities than simple device failure. Modern families have lost fundamental skills because apps and gadgets replace human knowledge. Navigation depends on GPS instead of maps and compasses. Communication relies on networks instead of analog alternatives. Problem-solving waits for internet searches instead of critical thinking. Lisa Zhang, a software engineer from San Francisco, experienced this during the 2020 wildfires. When the power died and cell towers burned, we realized we couldn't do anything without our devices. couldn't navigate without GPS, couldn't get weather updates without apps, couldn't even remember important phone numbers because they were all stored in our contacts. Emergency response data reveals the pattern. High-tech households require significantly more rescue assistance during infrastructure failures. They're optimized for normal conditions but helpless when normal disappears. Their preparation strategy assumes technology will work when history proves it won't. Electronic preparation feels sophisticated and complete. You've bought the best devices, the newest apps, the most advanced systems. But you've optimized for convenience, not survival. When crisis strips away the digital overlay, you discover the terrifying truth. You've prepared for the emergency that won't happen while ignoring the one that will. But here's what actually works when everything else fails. Essential item number 2. Manual tools and basic implements. The metal feels solid in Jennifer's hands. Cold steel. Simple lever action, no batteries required, no plastic parts to break. After her expensive electric opener died during the power outage, she invested in 3 manual versions. One for the kitchen, one for the emergency kit, and one for the car. Manual can openers and eating utensils represent survival technology that works regardless of external conditions. No power grid required, no signal needed, no updates necessary. Just reliable mechanical advantage that transforms unusable food storage into accessible nutrition. Quality matters more than convenience. Military-grade manual openers last decades under harsh conditions. Commercial versions break after months of normal use. The difference isn't just durability, it's accessibility when your life depends on getting food out of cans. Captain Rodriguez, an Army logistics specialist, explains, "In field conditions, we depend on gear that works when everything else fails. Manual can openers are tested under extreme conditions because soldiers' lives depend on accessing nutrition. One broken opener can starve an entire unit." When you know you can open your stored food regardless of circumstances, confidence replaces anxiety. When your family sees you easily accessing canned goods during a power outage, leadership replaces panic. Simple competence becomes powerful reassurance. Emergency preparedness experts recognize manual tools as force multipliers. Pack tools that serve multiple purposes to maximize efficiency and reduce kit weight. A quality manual can opener also functions as a small pry bar, wire stripper, and emergency cutting tool. One device provides multiple survival capabilities. A $15 manual can opener unlocks thousands of dollars worth of food storage. The return on investment approaches infinity when it provides access to nutrition that keeps your family alive. But even better than basic access tools, there's one item that transforms any location into a survivable environment. Essential item number 1. Quality water filtration systems. The creek water looks crystal clear. It tastes clean and cold. But Jennifer Walsh, a hiking guide from Colorado, knows appearances deceive. She pulls out her ceramic water filter. Tested for 10,000 gallons, proven against bacteria, viruses, and parasites. 20 minutes later, she's drinking water that's safer than most city supplies. Portable water filters represent the ultimate survival force multiplier. They transform any water source into safe drinking water. One device eliminates dependence on stored supplies, municipal systems, and emergency deliveries. With a quality filter, you're never more than walking distance from hydration. Filtration quality determines survival success. Basic filters remove sediment and improve taste, but leave deadly pathogens intact. Military-grade ceramic filters eliminate bacteria, viruses, protozoa, and chemical contaminants. The difference isn't just convenience, it's the gap between life and death from waterborne illness. Dr. Sarah Martinez, a water safety engineer, studied filtration performance during disaster response. High-quality ceramic filters remove 99.9% of harmful organisms from contaminated water sources. Basic carbon filters performed worse than boiling. In survival situations, filter quality directly correlates with survival rates. Ceramic filters use microscopic pores to trap pathogens while allowing clean water molecules to pass through. Silver impregnation provides antimicrobial action that prevents bacterial growth within the filter itself. Multiple stage systems handle different types of contamination. Water filtration provides psychological benefits beyond physical safety. When you know you can create safe drinking water from any source, location independence replaces shelter dependency. When your family sees unlimited clean water, abundance replaces scarcity mindset. When you control your most essential resource, confidence replaces fear. 1 gallon of water per person per day means a family of 4 needs 4 gallons daily. Quality filters produce hundreds of gallons from a single replacement cartridge. The cost per gallon drops to pennies compared to bottled alternatives. Gravity-fed systems require no power or pumping action. Portable units fit in backpacks for mobility. Large capacity versions support group needs. Modular designs allow component replacement without system replacement. Today you learned which so-called essentials actually put you at risk, and the 2 items that truly keep you alive. With this knowledge, you're already ahead of 90% of households when the next crisis hits. In the next video, we'll expose 7 critical items you must avoid at all costs, and the 2 lifesavers you'll want ready before disaster strikes. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your input fuels the survival strategies we uncover next.